Hello everybody, welcome back. I just posted my Tarot in Real Life Challenge video last week and I got a helpful comment on there. It was a request from someone saying, I'd love to see how you study a specific card, meaning the different kinds of journaling angles or research technique you use to dive deep. So I'm going to make an entire video about that, but it made me think of another video that I really wanted to make, which was looking at cards upside down. And this is a very strange one, but it's not only for people who read reversals. Now, as you know, I think, I used to read with the Rider-Waite-Smith, my Centennial deck, which I still love very much. It's right here, for clients as well. That was my go-to deck. That was the deck that I was doing readings with. But ever since Black Lives Matter, I realized that deck is only showing white people, and it's just not diverse. It's not the message that I want to work with or bring, or, you know, I want to be inclusive. And I hope I said all of that right. I'm really trying to say it comes from the heart. And so I switched to Thoth. Now I am doing readings full-time with this one for clients, and it is kind of a switch. I am reading these cards the way that I would read any other tarot deck. That's really my thing. Some people don't like that, I know, and I also kind of respect that opinion as well. But what I'm doing is I like the Rider-Waite-Smith so much, and I also like that system. I never read the Rider-Waite-Smith cards only as the Rider-Waite-Smith system, though. I also included Marseille knowledge, which is all about numerology, elements. It's much more abstract. And knowing this system and working with these cards and loving that system, loving these cards, makes it easier also to work with the Thoth, because I kind of feel that so far the Thoth is a combination of Marseille and Rider-Waite-Smith. I know that's probably something I'm not allowed to say, but I just said it. And I also made an entire video about the Thoth basically being a Thothified Marseille. That's how I feel so far, and I am already reading with it, as I said, but at the same time I feel that is okay, since I have, you know, experience reading cards for other people, and the Thoth is really, actually feels really good, and I really feel that I'm getting my style of reading, my style of message across through that deck. And I was trying to say before, I think that it's okay that I'm doing these readings professionally, and at the same time I'm also diving way deeper into the studies of the Thoth deck. I don't feel that I'm done with the Thoth, but at the same time I also don't feel that I'm done with the Rider-Waite-Smith or Marseille. Diving deeper into it, doing my own personal work with it, experiencing the cards in different ways. I have many different ways. Not many of them come from books, but also I want to get into the deep diving books as well. So here's another really strange, but to me new way of understanding the energy of a card. It's just by looking at it, but then upside down. And this is not just for people who read reversals, because guess what? When I read with the Rider-Waite-Smith, I did use reversals in my readings for clients and for myself as well. To me, it was very simple the way that I interpreted that. It was just a block on the energy. Now with the Thoth, I don't use reversals because I always fan out the card, and I'm talking especially with clients, but also for myself. I don't see, there's no reversed meanings really with the Thoth. There are also not really meanings, but that's a whole other story. But, you know, talking about reading for clients, I fan out the cards in front of them and they pick which card feels right in the moment. Now, if I were to reverse some cards, then you can tell, you know, you can tell which card looks different. So that's no good. And so for that reason, it's been a while since I've seen any tarot cards upside down, reversed. When I looked at a card and wanted to study a specific card, I remember it was the Star card, I looked at it in every possible angle. All of a sudden, it looked like a completely new picture, a completely new landscape, a completely new situation that was forming right in front of my eyes. That jumped out at me because I had actually never seen the Thoth cards upside down. I'm going to show, I think these are 22 cards I have here, and we're going to go through them because why not? And it's going to be something else. So as I said, it started with the star card. First of all, look at it. Maybe you want to pause this video right now and just go do this exercise for yourself. But here's the first example. And I'm not going to go through every card because I feel it doesn't work with every card or doesn't work as well with every card. But just look at this beautiful artwork and see it in a different light. And I think the conclusion is that we see a different energy of the same card. A different side of the same energy. The seven-pointed star, which is now right here, and then the beams of light, those circular lights that we see, they now look like a water surface, and then as if something had just dropped in the water and now there are these ripples. To me, that was quite magical to see this because it immediately brought, of course, that idea of the water being the self-reflection and the deeper wishes, as if you would drop a coin into a water surface and then you see your own face change. And also, obviously, because that is so much part of the message of the star or part of the energy of the star card, then it also triggers the thought of as above, so below. I just thought that was fascinating. And at the same time, a little bit, it's just, I know that it's just my own mind. And this is just an excuse to play with the cards, really. But, I mean, I know you like doing that as well, so I'm sharing this with you. I'm going to keep going a little bit quicker now. What do we have here? Oh yeah, so the Seven of Cups. It looks like a creepy chandelier. Chandelier, light. You can do something with that, right? Now in the Six of Swords, from this angle, it all kind of looks more like a compass or this ancient sun calendar, you know, where you put a stick in the ground and then you get to see, according to the shadow of that stick, or in this case a sword, according to where the shadow is on the ground, what time it is or what time of the year. I thought that was pretty interesting. Ace of Cups, such a beautiful card. Actually, it looks down here, it looks like there's a road now to walk on towards this strange looking palace that is shining and shimmering in the sunlight, or in the moonlight perhaps. It looks so distorted. I just have a feeling that it's in a desert and it's kind of a mirage, but maybe also you're just tripping. That wouldn't be strange for the Crowley deck, right? The Three of Coins, actually from this angle, is very simple. It just looks more like we are looking down on this tetrahedron rather than it being a goal from this angle. Now it's kind of different. It's kind of, maybe you don't want to do this work because it's beneath you, or maybe you feel you've already accomplished it, or something along those lines. That's the feeling I got. Not that I'm going to read the Thoth cards reversed now, but it's just a part of that energy, so yeah. I never really liked the idea of reversed cards meaning the exact opposite of the message of the card, the right way up. That to me has never felt right. But you do what feels right. The beautiful Hermit. All I wrote down about this card is that this way he looks like a tree. He just looks more like a tree. And you do with that what you want. But I always like trees. I think they have a lot of wisdom. etc. Okay, the Queen of Swords, I love her. Whew, so powerful. Of course I am her. Anyway, now with these clouds, they kind of look like an explosion has happened due to also this right here, and then these, you know, these crystals in the air, this energy, and then with the smoke. That would be smoke now. You see that? Ooh, the Ace of Swords. I love this card as well. It's so beautiful. This way, the card has a completely different horizon and meaning to me. These look like thunder clouds, and it's like the sword is in the ground. This way, the feeling is also really different because it kind of feels like you are weighed down by this fear, but you have to go through the storm to the depth, which is in the back of the card. Yes, that's right, doggy, let's hydrate. Okay, let's keep going. The Hanged Man. Now, upside down, of course, he looks right way up. And the emphasis is way more on breaking open. And then there's that green light around his head with this snake, and it just means open up to transformation. And really that breaking free is just... The emphasis is way more on that, I feel, because this way it kind of course it's about that, but it kind of feels more natural. It kind of feels like with the waiting, it just happens naturally, just simply because of that's how gravity works. And then this way it's more sacred. Something like that. That's the feeling I got. Cruelty, the Nine of Swords. This way, it looks like a very cruel crown. It comes straight from Game of Thrones. Or, of course, matches, funnily enough, because they're not wands. If you're trying out this exercise and have trouble seeing different landscapes in the same cards when you're looking at them upside down, then try looking at the card and, you know, doing that one of those scrying techniques where you just let your eyes unfocus a little bit so that it becomes a little bit blurry, and then different shapes start to form or different things start to happen. Now, I did that with the Death card. The figure of death really started to look like a crocodile. The rib cage would be the body of the crocodile, and this helmet would be the head. I also thought that was particularly interesting because the Thoth deck is not the only one who has this. It's also in way older decks. In the Fool card, there is a crocodile. Now, since death can be seen as the skeleton of the Fool, there's just another connection right there. The Wheel of Fortune is probably my favorite one in this exercise because this one blew my mind. This way, it looks much more like we're in a storm and there's lightning and thunder, and it even looks like a hurricane being so, you know, circular. It looks like the wheel is on top of some water, and this water is reflecting all of that chaos that is happening above it. Just look at this one. Really. It's completely different. This way is just chaos. Imagine these beams, these waves going further than the card. Imagine being, what's the word? Like in there, and this energy is surrounding you. It's already a little bit like that, looking at it right side up. But actually, I never saw it quite so violent before. It was always a very beautiful card to me, very dynamic, but very beautiful, and can also be seen as soft even, with the soft kind of wavy things. But this way, it was just, wow, look at this, you know, this lightning coming down, this electricity. Very powerful. So I think the next time I see the wheel, I'm going to read it a little bit more powerful and dynamic. That's the idea. The Empress. Simple. The door, the archway that we have here, now in this angle looks more like a receptive female symbol. So that helps. The moon is also a funny one. Now, the world is completely upside down, obviously, but it kind of looks like we are walking this path underneath this arch, underneath this scary, huge arch. We're going through a cave towards the light. But it is different than right way up, right? Because we are emerging from the waters and we are walking a path, but in between those two towers, and this way it kind of looks like we are going into the mountains, and then it's a different energy which still completely fits the moon card. Am I the only one who's doing these strange exercises? The Aeon, I love this card in the Thoth. It's easy, of course. We see an egg. We always see an egg. But now it looks like it's a flower that is blooming from the egg, or it's a tulip coming out of the ground. The Priestess was also took me to another site, looking at it. From this perspective, it looks like we are standing on top of a high cliff with a lot of trees full of fruits and good things, the nature growing abundantly, and then we are looking down from that cliff and there's a waterfall. And right here in the bottom where there is these circular things again, that could be the ripples of the water, the ripples of the waterfall. This way it's a waterfall. I know I'm making things up, but the Three of Wands, they look like brooms this way, and I don't want to disrespect the Thoth, and I don't feel that I am, because brooms and the Three of Wands could actually make a lot of sense. The Hierophant. Okay, so I didn't expect this, but this way it looks like hell to me. It looks like his robe could go on forever and ever and make these huge, scary, creepy flames, because we are in the dark and we are walking on these painful nails, and then there's these huge flames in the corner of the dark room, and the flames in themselves also have shadows, and I am crazy, but that is just what I saw. It's a very nightmarish card, this way. Now I also see the nightmare right side up, right way up, because I just always see his friendly face, and the fact that I like this Hierophant more than the Rider-Waite-Smith one, and I never considered it scary or creepy or dark, even though there's a pretty dark background. I used to think it was black, but it's supposed to be dark blue. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'm going to incorporate that a little bit. His friendly face isn't really supposed to be friendly. It's supposed to, what did Crowley say? As if he is laughing at a joke that you don't get, or something like that. The Ace of Wands, this way looks much more like a stamp, or even worse, like I have to translate that. Google says the word I'm supposed to use for what I'm thinking is poker. A hot poker? I'm thinking like not a stamp, but branding. The Magician, or the Magus, I should say. Well, this was funny, because this way I never saw it in that manner. This way is just he's emerging from somewhere, and then like this, it looks way more as if, you know, with all of these different lines and this movement that is so much in this card, now it looks like a tunnel. It looks like we are being sucked into a tunnel that is somewhere in space. Kind of like that. The tower this way really looks like it's being purged. And that makes sense, right? adjustments. It's just that this way I saw this, what is this, octahedron? I saw it more like a precious stone, a precious diamond that is being guarded in a special room of some sorts. Something that is never touched. Something that is very protected. A very special crystal to me. So there you go. That was what I found in the Thoth card specifically. That was just the deck that I had with me when I thought of this exercise, and so I just continued with that deck. Of course you can do it with any deck, but I think a deck that is a little bit more abstract might just help. Because otherwise, you know, using the Rider-Waite-Smith as an example, which is where I first did this, but obviously it was mostly to find out how I could read the cards in reversal, if they would come up reversed. Here, for instance, you can just look at it and think of gravity and the swords as like they are falling out of his back. I think it's a helpful exercise to do anyway. But what I meant to say is, in Rider-Waite-Smith, the people are depicted so much as people, it's very obvious. Then I think it's harder to find these weird other things in the artwork. You cannot compare these decks, actually, in artwork. Just an example, I don't think I would look at this High Priestess card and see a waterfall. And I know not everyone will see a waterfall here either, but it's just that this is more abstract, and that is why you can see different things in there. That's what I think. But of course, try it. I mean, what could I see in this High Priestess upside down? Maybe this veil with the pomegranates and everything looks a little bit more like a beautiful garden or a path in a garden to walk on. Just have fun with it. Try it out. I know this was another weird video with another strange exercise, but so far, so many of you have liked my weird exercises. For instance, making a map of the tarot deck. I never thought that people would actually like that and then try it themselves. And I love that. So maybe you will want to try this strange one as well, because after all, it's just a way of working with the cards. So any time that we spend with the cards is useful. And we learn every time, no matter what. Thank you very much. I think that's it. I will see you all in the next one.